Welcome to the board meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the September 14th, 2023 regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as provided.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved supported to approve the minutes of the September 14th, 2023 regular board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none carried. You've received a copy of your treasurer's report. Any comments? If not, place it on file. You've received the minutes of the planning commission meeting from September 6th. Any comments on those, John?
No.
Place it on file. There was no appeal. Anyone with anything to bring before the board at this time? Mr. Abel.
Good evening. For the record, my name is James Ebel. I live at 4396 Chippewa Highway, Manistee. I received, Dennis, your board review paperwork from 2017-2018 that I requested. Speaking with the assessor has determined that there was a check issued to me in 2017 for property taxes paid in that year. I went to the county treasurer today. They cannot produce a copy of that check because of the time frame that has gone by. I do not believe that I received that check, as I did not receive the two zoning board, board of review documents that you sent me. Okay.
I don't know where they would have went.
2018, my property taxes were put back into PRE. 2019, they were taken out. 3 times in 4 years, my property was taken out of homestead exemption. I'm glad the board realized that there was an issue with the assessing in the township, and we've taken action to correct that. But my problem is, I'm still out $1,763 for taxes that I paid in 2019 that were not reimbursed. You can claim that there was a 3-year state regulation for time frame, and that's all that you can give back. This has been an ongoing issue with me for 6 years. How can you put a time frame on this issue that's been repeatedly brought up to you and tell me I'm not entitled to that money back? That's unjust enrichment by the township to take that money that they weren't entitled to. What's the resolution that we can come to before I go give a lawyer $5,000 and we go to court?
Yes, that's what you'll have to do.
That seems foolish, doesn't it?
It does. It's out of my hands. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing any member of this board can do. There's nothing the assessors can do. The law is the law.
But the law, the time frame of the law should not apply in this case because of the ongoing issues over the years. This is not a one-time thing. This is 3 times in 4 years.
When you brought it to my attention, it was taken care of. Isn't that right?
In 2018. 2019, it was taken back out of the PRE again. 2019, 20, 21, 22, it was not in the PRE. You made a 1-year correction, basically, on that issue.
Well, when you brought it to me,
Yes.
we contacted the assessor, contacted the county, we made the correction.
Yes.
Previous to that, I was right Jim, as I told you in the past, we don't watch every piece of property. It's up to the homeowner to keep an eye on what's going on.
That's a poor answer, but
I know
anyway,
That's
okay,
the only answer that I have.
I understand that. We'll take another form of action to correct the issue. Second question I have is a zoning question. I received the zoning information I requested from Karen. I looked it over. I have a question about another zoning issue in the township, and that's Anthony's excavating. How did Anthony's excavating get to the point where they are today from what that property was when he moved there? And I bring this up for a reason. Because of the upstart construction companies that are moving into the area in my neighborhood. I don't want to see the same thing happen in my neighborhood that's happened at Anthony's Excavating. You may like Anthony, I have nothing wrong with Gans, he's a great kid, he works hard, but you're letting the zoning fall by the wayside. You're not following the rules. You're allowing things to happen that shouldn't be. And other people are going to do the same thing, thinking that they can do that. Now, I don't know what that property is zoned as, where he is, but I can't believe that he should be allowed to pile broken concrete, asphalt, dirt piles, when Elmer's has to be in an industrial zone. Reeve Riley has to be in an industrial zone in Manistee to do that same thing. Jim Seifert couldn't do it on his property on Poland Road, but he rented property from the township to store his materials, right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yep.
How can Anthony get away with this on that parcel of property that he's on? That's a question for your zoning department.
Yeah. We'll research it. Sure.
Okay. Second thing about the zoning, you realize that you have a problem with your assessing. Your enforcement of your zoning is no better than your assessing was. The township should consider turning over the zoning to the county, where they have enforcement people that will enforce the laws that you enacted. You voted yes to accept these rules and laws. You need to enforce them. If you can't enforce them, you need to get somebody who can. Because it's not fair to the adjoining property owner next to a junkyard to have to put up with that. It's not right. Let somebody enforce it that will do it. Other townships have gone with the county because of that same reason, the enforcement of the zoning. Manistee Township should consider it also. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Anything else?
Anita Richmond, 3497 Maplewood. I'm here regarding the public access at the corner of Lake Shore and Poplar. We have a escalating situation there. I sent a letter requesting a fence. I don't, I know there's not a lot that everybody can do because of the way the situation is, but the fence would help protect us, the citizens that want to use that access, at least getting over the dune. Once we're on the other side, we're at the best to protect ourselves from the residents. I know Daisy Wolf sent you an email, hopefully the video and the still photos came through. She was able to get a video. The rest of us are down there with small children or whatever, and we're not as savvy and quick as she was to pull the video on the situation down there. So if we could do something to help us access Lake Michigan and use our public beach, and that's, I think, a fairly inexpensive way of protecting us, if we could instill that. Because it is
What's going to happen when
escalating.
you get to the beach?
Well, that's another situation. I mean, we had an actual walker attacked by the dog, bit on the elbow, bit on his back, and now he doesn't walk past the houses anymore. He lives on Piney, so he has the right, you can go right or left. He now goes along a different path, so he doesn't have to come in front of the house. We went from just jumping on people to now nipping and biting.
Did that individual call the sheriff's department?
I don't know that they did. That's their recourse, that's their right. But, you know, I know Daisy was actually in the water when she was assaulted by the family, his dog and the owner. I've seen the photos, I've seen the video. And I know she's gone to the police, but we're not getting any help from the dog animal control. Officer Rosa actually looked into them when Scarra's grandchildren were attacked by this dog and scratched up. He couldn't find that they had license or rabies shots, no documentation, which doesn't mean that they don't have it. But we're not getting anywhere with our complaints between the sheriff's department, animal control. When they were lining dog feces along the property line, the health department did nothing for us. So, you know, we're kind of at a whim here. It's like, we don't know where to go, but if we could do something to help us, at least with part of that area.
So the sheriff's department, the health department, Eagle,
It's
have all been involved,
Yes,
and it all ends up here.
I know. I don't know where else to go. The only thing we're trying to be able to use our access without being harassed, intimidated. I mean, I came off the beach and the dogs are in and they're on the township property. Beans is on a leader that's attached to the house that comes all the way into the access to the path, the sand path. There's quite a footage there, probably, what is that access, 26 feet? I would
Well, I don't think
say,
it's that wide, that's the narrowest of the four,
okay.
yeah.
But we get maybe a path that's 1.5 to 2 feet wide to walk. The rest of it is wooded, you've been on it.
Yeah,
That dog comes from their house, and when I come through, that dog was right at my arm length as I'm walking. And I said to the owner, I believe your dog's leader is a little too long. And her comment to me was, obviously not long enough. And she started going, woof, 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 along with the dog to me. That was the same day Daisy was down in the water, and the dog and the owner were in the water harassing her. I mean, we have a situation there, and I understand there's a lot of things we can't do because it's kind of a civil issue. But if there was a fence put up on that access, that dog couldn't get at us, at least for half to the dune.
well, Anita, it's not a simple case of just calling up perfect fence and having run a fence up there. That's a critical dune area.
But if it was like a
The
snow
permit
fence,
process for that would take, that dog would probably be deceased by the time we get through the permit process.
Then
But
how
we're
are
willing
they-
to pursue it if that's what you'd like to do.
well, how are they allowed to put up that postings on the dunes on the lake side then?
There's been a lot of activity on that critical dune that I'm sure Eagle would not be very fond of.
Well, Eagle saw their fencing, because when they first were called, they had the fence all the way into the water. And when
Yeah.
he came down, they were told that they had to, that fence could be, they must have been able to allow it, because he's been there a few times since. And they had snow fencing that they had to roll up to like the high water line. So Eagle has a lot, I mean, I can call him and see if it'd be allowed, because my understanding is that it cannot be put in with machinery. If it's gonna be put in, it has to be hand dug, manually done. And
Yeah,
it
the
can't,
plant life has to be inspected
Right.
to make sure that,
May I interject?
sure.
Okay, I will talk to the sheriff. Rosa, I believe, is going through current training to become deputized to be on the road patrol.
that's what I understand.
He's going till the middle of December.
So I will follow up with the sheriff. There again, from what I've heard, there's definitely an issue. There's a dog ownership issue, a fence, you know, dogs come and go, owners come and go. You know, if you're gonna put up a fence for a dog that's not being maintained, but let me follow up
Well,
and see what I can.
I tried to get Daisy's information to the sheriff today. The sheriff was unavailable.
Okay,
And with Deputy Rosette, that's a proper,
It is.
he's off, so what they do is they send the complaint to 911 and they contact whatever deputy is on duty. And this evening before, well, a couple hours before I came here, Officer Secura called me. And I explained to him that I was trying to get the information to the sheriff. And he said that we were gonna contact him again on it tomorrow to see if we can get the video and all that to the sheriff.
If you've got the videos, forward it to me, Dennis, and I will pick it up with Brian tomorrow.
Okay.
yeah, it's a beautiful access, and in that video, I mean, she's basically telling her that she should go to the public beach. Well, is that not a public beach? I mean, they don't own it, and I don't think they grasp that. So, I'm just looking for any help we can get, because when, that day, between what happened to me, what happened to Daisy, and then a couple days later, we've got someone walking by that's attacked by their dogs and bitten, you know, this is escalating. It started out as just a dog running around and a lady chasing her dog. Now we're, you know, this dog's on a leash and doing this. So, and it's not the dog's fault, it's the handler's fault, but,
Mrs. Secura was in as well
okay,
with the concerns about her grandkids, and evidently one of them got
Yeah.
scratched pretty good.
yeah. So, you know, and that's when it's, you know, it's in the summer, now it's still going on. I don't know the answer. I just was thinking that possibly a temporary, like a snow fence, because it wouldn't invade the dune, might help define the property line at least. And the survey's already been done there, so it would help at least the entrance. Because we have people that come from Airbnbs that are using this. I mean, there's people, it's a used access, it's a nice
They all
access.
four of them are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you listening. Any help we can get to try to control this. I understand they own the property next to it, but we also have our rights.
Well, but they don't own the easement.
No, they don't, and we all have legal right to walk the beach and not be harassed.
That's correct.
And their leaders for the dog on the beach go into the water. So as soon as you start walking that beach, that dog comes at you and it's into the water. You can go down there and you can see where that chain or whatever it is all the way into the water. I don't, you know, I realize their property line changes every day because they only own to the water line. They don't have 157 feet, or it's not a set number. So every day, that property line changes, but that dog shouldn't be allowed in the water either on a leash.
Property line is the historical high water mark, if I'm not mistaken.
That battle has been fought over and over and over again, and it's illegal for you to walk that beach as long as you're in the water.
Correct.
As long as you're below the high water mark.
Right. we all-
Correct.
Right.
Below the high water mark,
The
not
high
the
water mark.
fluctuation of the day.
And it's a certain elevation.
Correct,
Set in law.
correct.
I beg to differ with him, because since this whole thing has come up, I've gone through that with a lot of,
But there's nobody
Sure.
sitting on their property. People are down there enjoying, they're within the access. They're maybe walking and looking for stones or beach glass, but nobody's on their property, laying there. You know, I don't see any violation of the access for water, you know, to walk around and stuff like that. I don't believe that that's happening. It's just harassment because they don't want you there. And as the video said to you, she tells her to go get a job so she can afford to live on the beach. I mean,
there was more than that said.
yes, there was. I'm being kind. So, well, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? So Commissioner, you got anything going on?
Well, I'll try to be brief.
As you folks are well aware, this is gonna be one of the voting areas for the county. Manistee Township, the city of Manistee, and also Calava are gonna be the three locations for 9-day early voting for state and federal elections, which will be next year.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, and then the actual election day will be back to normal for everyone as well. We had a MSU, Jennifer Berkey came before us at the last board meeting, gave us her annual report. One thing of note is the fair, they doubled the size of their youth for the 4-H program, which was nice to see. Now, I can't honestly tell you if that's from 5 to 10 or 10 to 20 or 20 to 40, but the size is doubled. Fair Board, Elaine Blossingham came before us and gave us their annual report for them. One story of note was one of the youth, through the livestock auction, a young lady raised $12,000 and that money was donated, the profits were donated to bullying programs, offset bullying, so that was kind of a nice little story. We signed a contract for the grant for the Veterans Affairs Counselor for the following year for $69,000. We were awarded $274,000 from the feds for a new Lake Michigan boat for the Sheriff's Department. There's $100,000 to $110,000 that we had to put up, so it's a combination from money out of the Sheriff's Department as well as county allocations through ARPA dollars, and I believe there's $10,000 from the Community Foundation for that. But the Sheriff's Department is quite happy they're getting a new 29-foot Lake Michigan boat. We signed contracts for zoning administration for Arcadia and Onekama. We also signed a contract with Mr. Glenn Zeringa for code enforcement. Michigan Townships has raised their annual dues to the county to $2,500. We are opting out, we are not renewing, we don't see the value in it for us at that, other than we get the commissioners get the monthly mailing, so we're going to be off that mailing list. We're spending $28,000 to run fiber throughout the planning department to help improve their speed of their network. We have
You know who's doing that work?
You know, I don't off the top. I can find out if you want.
Yeah, if you would, please.
Okay. Have a new fee scheduled at the treasurer's office. The recycling for the tires, they collected 1,861 tires this year in Calava. Lumley Drain is 7 acres out in Pleasanton Township. And the drain commissioner, Gary Schweiger, brought it before us for a closure of that. It basically consists of just a culvert through a road, Act 51 road. Well, there was some discussion, we did not have a full board, so it got tabled. We'll act on it hopefully this coming Tuesday at our next board meeting. And I don't see any reason not to, but again, there were some questions that were brought up, and I don't know, see what the issue is. It was actually formed in 1906, and I believe there was a few dollars put in it back in, it was either the teens or the 20s of the 1900s, and I suspect it will wind up getting closed.
Just food for thought, the road commission took responsibility for that culvert on Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, there again, every culvert, they basically take care of that. I argue, small counties, drain commissioner, turn it over to the road commissioner. But that's, there is a limit, I don't know what the limit, I think it's like 12,500, something like that for a county. I think you have that option, but we're too big for that option as it stands today. What else do I have? There was quite a lengthy discussion yesterday at Onekama Township Board. We put in for a $1.4 million grant through the feds to try to get a recycle center up there off of Johns Road, which is property that county owns adjacent to the fairgrounds. It's part of it just on the north side of the northern road. And since we weren't successful in that, last month, Onekama Township repaved their parking lot. So they had to move all the recycle bins out of there, along with the trailer for the cardboard for the school. went over to the fairgrounds, now they don't want the trailer and the dumpsters back. So we had quite an in-depth conversation. We're going to continue that. I'm probably going to be meeting there with the Fair Board President, John Shipke, on Sunday. And we're going to try to discuss what options, because we entrust the Fair Board to keep an eye on the property. So again, and they're not exactly fond of the county board trying to dictate to them what they're gonna do and why they're gonna do it, when they're a volunteer board doing all those things. So, to be continued. I know you guys have been questioned several times about recycling down here. Things to think about if you're looking possibly to invest in something like that, recycling, number one. Number two, you may or may not be aware, the current legislative process in Lansing is mandated. Everybody's gonna be recycling regardless of your thought process on it. It's coming, no matter what.
Well, then the money should be coming too.
There is money that's gonna be coming. And we're gonna be joining the Northwestern region, and we get higher reimbursement because of that, as opposed to doing a standalone. So again, you don't have to like it, but you need to make the best out of what you can with what options you have. So that's all I'm telling you. So it's food for thought to think about.
So the decision makers on this thing, I wonder how many bags of garbage they picked up off the ground. Well, I wanna ask them.
No, I'm well aware of that, but there again, you can have that conversation with the state legislature and also Governor Whitmer. I get it, Dennis, I get it. And they get it up at, everybody gets that. But again, then the flip side of that becomes how many tons that are not going to the landfill that are being recovered and reused, repurposed, whatever your flavor, as opposed to those few that screw up the whole thing for everybody else. I understand, I get it. Public Defender's Office, Jared Henry, as I'm sure you are aware by now, is now replaced Judge Brunner, who retired. The new public defender is Jane Johnson, temporarily. We have 2 applicants for that position. There has been no decision made as of yet. Out to the airport, we have the first, what I would argue, the first new engineering firm called Mead and Hunt since Prina Newhoff. We did not renew the contract with them. It was up to be renewed this year. And Mead and Hunt was chosen. And Preenhoff would arguably be the original one from the early 60s when passenger service started. And it just kind of changed to a different name over time. I think that's correct, Barry. So anyways, that's where we are with that. We also have a new hangar that's constructed out there. Mike Sokola has stepped down, as you probably are aware, the planning department administrator. He has moved on to Networks Northwest. Primarily, the reason is he's relayed to us is the work schedule. He can do 410s from home. So that's what he's doing. And,
How many people do you have in the office now?
well, it depends how you want to count. I could tell you we have a minimum of 5. We're looking to bring another one in. And it has not, if you read the paper yesterday, you had the impression Katie Mell is the new administrator for the planning department. Extremely likely, but it has not happened officially as of yet. When I saw that little blip on my news feed, I was kind of like, wow, somebody's really got a scoop here, because I didn't even know about it. So anyway, again, Katie, extremely likely will be the new planning director, and we're going to hire another zoning administrator. We do not have a contract with the city anymore. And we had many, many go-arounds. I've had many conversations with the city manager and the guys of that. And it wasn't performance-based, I can tell you that. It became dollars and cents. And I still would argue to the day my last breath, that they aren't gonna be able to get the value for the dollar they got even close going in-house. But the city manager wants to go a different direction, so they are. This past Monday, local revenue sharing board, we had $106,000 in request. We had $92,000 to distribute, roughly round numbers. There was one request for $30,000 from Pleasanton Township. That was for to check grave sites, basically, some type of machine that they could go through And I'd have to look at the actual verbiage, but it had to do with this. We didn't see it as a public safety request, so we did not grant that. We said this one does not meet the qualifications. So we granted all the rest of the requests for the local revenue sharing board, minus that 30. So the extra dollars are going back into the kitty for cycle 1 of 24. And I will follow up with the sheriff in regard to the situation with a unhappy dog and what have you. So again, please send me that stuff and I will pick it up with Brian tomorrow.
Sure.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
So how many townships do you have at the county planning department now?
It's either 8 or 9, with or without the city, and I will tell you, I believe there's 3 right now, from my understanding. My understanding, Marilla has a strong interest, Maple Grove, and Calava. So, you know, Calava's inside, but it's Calava's village, so no different than Bear Lake Village and Bear Lake Township, but that's what we have. And again, what I would, as I talked to Jim earlier today, is we do administration for zoning. We do enforcement for zoning, but when it's all said and done, it falls back on the local unit, what you want to enforce. You can have the zones, whatever zoning laws. If you don't want to spend the dollars in the court systems to enforce them, that's up to the local unit. If we're contracted, if those local units don't want to push that, then, you know, our hands are tied. That's the one thing, and we don't have county zoning, as everybody is aware. And I personally don't want to get into county zoning, but I saw a need for the zoning administration throughout the county, and it's been working well. And again, we don't have anybody who's not happy with it, to my knowledge at all, just the opposite.
Well, there's more to it than just the enforcement end. There's a turnaround, there's the application process.
And those were the things that have pretty much vastly improved wherever we've gone.
Any questions for Jeff? Thank you, sir. Karen, you got anything going on?
For September, there were no new written complaints. There were 3 zoning permits issued, 8 requests for construction permits, and 5 re-inspection fees paid. The Planning Commission and myself are still working very hard on a short-term rental licensing ordinance. I'm anticipating having the recommended amendments to the zoning ordinance from the Planning Commission to the board for your review, and hopefully approval for November meeting, latest December. And then a Culver's update. Project is still on track with 0 days lost to rain, and you should see walls going out by the end of the month. And that is it.
I spoke with the general contractor at Culver's, and he said he has an October 28th for the blacktop.
Yes.
A lot to do in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
Any questions for Karen?
I have a question.
All right.
Some of the documents you provided me, Karen, were regards to violation of the junk ordinance. There's one in particular dated 5/31 of 23 regarding property description number 5107-123-01020.
Mr. Ebel, if you'd like to go in my office to discuss it, I can take you in there because I don't have that paperwork in front of me.
I'm not looking at mine.
No, you can go in there and discuss it. As I mentioned in the letter, you can make an appointment. We don't need to do it in front of the board.
The board should hear what's going on with zoning.
They do know what's going on.
It should not be, clarity is pretty important to them. I'll talk to you after the meeting.
Anything else, Karen?
No.
Joe, fire department?
Thank you.
Okay, as of last month, we had 4 lift assist calls, or 4 hours on lift assist, 22 and a half hours of fire and car accident, vehicle accident, 16 hours in medical, and the chief and officers done 70 hours last month. On our community events, we went up to Brother for First Responder Appreciation. Bear Lake was playing their football game there, and they asked us to come. We did have that open house last month, and it was a pretty good turnout. We did do all the JAWS, the 3 companies from the JAWS companies. We did the demos. We got the steps in for the new rescue truck. We're just waiting on the brush guard to come in, and then once that comes in, then we'll be taking it up to Traverse City to get them put on. And then after that, then we'll make arrangements to take it down to LA to get it finished. The trucks were pump tested last month. They all passed. We're still keeping the station clean as much as possible. Equipment, we did, on our business meeting this past Monday, we did talk about the 3 companies that we've tried for the JAWS, and we picked T&T Rescue out of it. That'll come with a spreader, cutter, ram with extensions. We also would like to purchase what's called a Rescue 42 telecrib squad kit, and what that does is stabilizes a vehicle that's on its side for us to be able to cut into the vehicle or anything. So that way it doesn't move while we're trying to get people out. National Hose Testing Company did come up and test all of our hoses last month, and they all passed. It's been a year on the air compressor for maintenance to be done and air tested by NFPA standard. We're still actively recruiting, and we still have the finest folks on our fire and EMS department. Can't thank them all enough. Training, 3 of us went to training. We went for a fire behavior class. It's just to teach us a little bit better on how to see how the fire reacts and how we want to actually fight the fire in a safer way for us and the personnel. And then 3 of us also went to electric motor vehicle class. That a lot of good information, especially on how to fight the fire on them and to extricate somebody out of them. It was very good information because we're starting to see more and more electric cars. We did train on ladders and pumps and streams last month. The fire department is asking the board extra money to be able to purchase the JAWS equipment and the Rescue 42 squad kit. We did receive $25,000, not this last time, but the time before, from revenue sharing towards the purchase. What we're asking from the board is $14,759. The other thing is I'm asking the board is also for breathing air system maintenance to be done on the compressor and the air tested, because I gotta have a certification in the station saying that the air is purified on it, so we're breathing in the right air. And that's $1,242, or $48.58. And I'm also asking the board for a vital sign monitor for the EMS squad. It's to help out the personnel. It won't tie them up, especially a lot of times there's only one of us that is medically trained. And we can actually teach a firefighter to put this on a patient and press a button, and it'd help us out a lot while we're trying to get information off the patient or treat the patient. And the monitor costs $5,379.99. And that's all I have for you guys. I know I'm asking awful lot at once.
Well, going down the list, Joe, first I'd like to compliment you and Ralph and I believe Jacob.
Yeah.
We're at the Bear Lake football game in Brother
Yes, we were.
and assisted that kid that broke his arm. Is that what happened?
I think he dislocated his elbow. He didn't really
I mean,
fracture it.
You guys were there,
Yes.
you responded rapidly, took care of him.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, we did help him out and helped him get off the field and get in the vehicle so he could go
Yeah.
to the hospital.
helped to get his mother at ease.
Yes, his mom and dad.
Yeah. Well, that was a job well done. The 124858 for servicing the air breathing system, that's an annual thing. We knew that going in when we purchased it. So that shouldn't be a problem, Joe. I'd like to have a discussion with you, if I may, about the JAWS, because I want to know what you're going to do with the ones you have.
Well, the old ones, if we can find somebody to buy them, that's fine. I mean, but they're not usable right now.
Because of the hose.
Yeah, because of the hoses. And to replace hoses, from what I was getting from the company, it's gonna cost you about 15 grand.
It's like having a boat. Okay, any questions for Joe? Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
And please extend our thanks for, just for the sake of information, we had from the fire department, they turned in 58 report sheets from last month. Pretty busy for a part-time fire department. Liquor inspector Rick Klaus is at work. For the month of September, all township establishments are in compliance and there are no issues. Report. Township update. I mentioned the football injury. The fire department had, in this last month, has gone through 2 incidences of fatalities. Joe made arrangements for the people involved to go through a debriefing. Is that right, Joe?
Yes, it's basically like a peer support for them to be able to talk to somebody. Because it's not like every day we go on calls and somebody ends up passing away on it. So it's to help them cope with it and to let them know there is stuff out there that they can get help with if they need it. So I got a hold of Tina Robinson, used to be the Med Control's wife, and she gave me this people from Cadillac, and then their main office is out of Traverse City, but some of the peer support people are actually here in the county that came and talked to the people.
Sounds good. We received a word on our Spark grant. We didn't cut the mustard, so it was a very competitive, no-match grant. That was on the playground and pickleball area improvements. Jeff, you didn't mention that, I think we had a couple of calls on what they were doing in Bar Lake. Did they treat that for Phragmites?
They did. few weeks ago. I think I sent an email out to the board on that.
That's all I have. Anybody in Township updates? Next item on the agenda is an AED. I would like your comments on providing an AED, which is an automatic, come on, Joe, automatic
Defibrillator?
Yeah, defibrillator,
external defibrillator,
right, external.
which is actually a foolproof piece of equipment any one of us can pick up and use if necessary.
Yeah, you just gotta follow the
Come
instructions.
Well, maybe that's you. But with all the activity that's gonna be taking place in the banquet hall, I think it'd be a good idea to have one over there. Any comments on that? I know you got something you wanna say, what is it?
No.
Okay, I'll pursue that. The other, next is the snow removal bids, is this what this is? That's what these are?
have two of them there, yes.
Forbes Sewer and digging, a couple of the guys are retiring and will no longer be providing snowplow service. Swiderski Brothers Excavating, plow truck $68 per hour, loader $100 an hour, salt truck $135 per event, and a dump truck if it's needed for snow removal from the premises, $100.
How much was the plow truck, guys?
68.
68.
Okay. Twice what it was last year.
Shouldn't say what. This is from Anthony's Outdoor Services. Plow truck, $80 an hour. 1-ton dump truck with V-plow, $83 an hour. Loader, $100 an hour. And loader was for snow removal, $135 an hour. He also has on here, $88 an hour for de-icing services. And he included a certificate of insurance. So where's he do that?
I have one on file for Swiderski from something else.
Oh, okay,
Before they can accept it, we can get another one.
sure. You wanna see these?
I believe Swarovski was less than
Anybody wanna
that.
see these? You wanna see them, Guy?
No.
Those are the only two that we received?
That's all I have. Go ahead.
What's your wishes?
I make a motion to give the snow plowing contract to Swarovski Brothers Excavating.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved, supported that the snow plow bid from Swarovski's be accepted as read. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Dons?
Yes.
Mr. Fino?
Yes.
Jankowitz?
Yes.
Taylor Bridge, yes. Mr. Burke?
Yes. Yes. All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. I think you received both of those today, didn't you?
Actually, one was yesterday, one was today.
Okay, we need to pay the bills?
We do.
We do that every month.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to allow the bills paid as presented
been moved, supported that the bills be paid for September 1st, September 30th, 2023, as well as the incoming bills for the month of October. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. Manistee County MTA will meet October 25th, 23, at 7 p.m. at Sterling Township Hall. Is that the last one for the year or not?
It
No?
is.
It is?
It should.
Zoning Board of Appeals will meet Tuesday, November 7th at 6 p.m. If there is an appeal, is there any at this time?
Not at this time.
Okay. Planning Commission will meet Wednesday, November 1st at 9 a.m. here at the hall. The next regular board meeting of the Manistee Township Board will be November 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. here at the Township Hall. The only other comment that I have is that it's heating season once again. Please make sure your chimneys are clear, smoke alarm batteries are good. Any other comment?
Yes. Please review your draft calendars. There are several dates that will need to be changed. If you could review those and perhaps bring any changes to before next month's meeting.
Okay. There's no further business, motion's in order.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Been moved, supported, we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Being none, carried. Thank you all for coming.